his team. Now take a listen to Kyrie's explanation for his absence.
You know, I'm back. I'm happy to be back. And we got some great pieces, and we just move on. And I let my actions and my game speak for itself like I planned on doing. You know, just needed a pause.
Oh, we about to dive in some murky water. Do you have an issue with Kyrie Irving saying he just needed a pause?
You know me well enough. You know I do. Okay, let's talk about this. Kyrie Irving, who I adore. Yeah, I could say it. I could say it in a masculine tone as well. I adore Kyrie Irving. In fullness almost, because he owns who he is. And even with consequence, he's still going to be Kyrie Irving. And he knows the response. He knows how we're going to look at him in certain moments. Look at his timeline of events and issues over the years. Kyrie doesn't give a damn. I love that ownership of Kyrie. Kyrie being Kyrie. On the basketball court, very few things you can say that is bad about this guy. That said, when I saw he needed a pause, oh, that made me pause. And all of a sudden look at my adoration for him and say, I have to adjust this just a little, or talk to my man. And I don't know him well. We've seen each other before. He probably is like, who? The big fat guy? Me. I'm going to talk to you now, Kyrie, the big fat guy. Here's the thing that I don't like about needing a pause. There are about 6 or 7 moments every day that I need a pause. I'm a married man with 3 kids under the age of 5 years old and another one that's 21 trying to figure out what she's going to do in the real world. At least 6 times. I'll give you my latest example. I was in the pool a couple of days ago with my son. My son's 5 years old. He's already bigger than me, so he's punking me. We're over there wrestling in the pool, having fun. We have these little squirters. He squirts me, I squirt him. There's a lot more of me to squirt than him. So he aims for the eyes. What? And I looked at him. And then I was like, don't do that. Not in the eyes. It could hurt, Daddy. He processed that. He heard no. And then he still went, what? Time out time, right? I needed a pause because I wanted to put some, Child Protection Services. I was put some pause on. I wanted to put some pause on him. I'm sitting here one-eyed like on timeout. I'm like, boy, the point is that was one of my 6 pause moments of the day. But you know what I do? I keep on moving. I keep on walking. You have to, because 1, we're mentally tough enough to do that. 2, we can compartmentalize. 3, Kyrie Irving made the fatal flaw right here, which is connecting everything in his world. And a lot of people do this. They have an issue here, they have an issue here, and they have an issue there. And don't look at them independently, think that they're all a part of this script, a part of this play that's going on inside their head. And all of a sudden, you start to address that in totality instead of individually by every single element. I tell everybody all the time, happiness is not just a choice. We've heard that. You got to choose to be happy. Nuh-uh. Happiness or anything you want is a commitment, a little more than choice. Because choice, think about it, when you get married, one day you will. So it's a commitment. It's through the highs and through the lows. Kyrie, through the highs of your family issues, personal issues, through the lows of those, stay committed to all things and to all tasks. So when he took a pause from this, it made me pause at why he took a pause.
That's a good take. Now, again, understanding this is a sensitive and tough topic, I will say this. I don't have an issue with it because I can't have an issue with it, but I do see the problem with it. Why do I say I can't? First off, let's preface with this. Y'all are watching 2 athletes that played the game at the highest level, though one better than the other. Y'all are also watching athletes who have studied mental health, both undergraduate, but more importantly, at a graduate degree. So y'all are talking to athletes that have experienced it and have also studied it. So the issue is, mental health is very real. And Kyrie Irving, I understand you have to set boundaries for yourself. But here is the problem I can see with it. When you get to a certain level of fame, when you acquire a certain amount of money, you lose some rights. You lose some luxury.
Rights?
What do I mean by that?
Yeah, please.
Marcellus, you and I probably don't have the luxury, if we will, of getting cut off in traffic and flipping off the person who cut us off. Why? Because somebody might know who we are. You and I don't have a luxury of being in a bad mood, going to a grocery store. Oh my gosh, Marcellus, I love your work. Oh my God, Emmanuel, I love your conversations. Bro, who you? I don't have the luxury of always being able to respond in the way in which my emotions want me to respond because I've been given a certain position. Kyrie Irving, you've been given a certain position. They are paying you a certain amount of money, not to make you immune to your mental taxation at the time, not to make you immune to it, but to help you figure out how to tolerate it. See, these sports, unlike any other industry, you get 4 months off during the year. You ain't working a 9-to-5 year round where you can get paid time off, take 2 weeks here, take 2 weeks there. You were off 4 months out of the year. Build up. If you know that a famine is coming, then you will start to make sure you store up for yourself some goods so that you can endure the famine. During sports, we played in the NFL, you played in it and I played in it. You understand that there is an emotional famine. There is a spiritual famine. There's a psychological famine. There is a physiological famine. There is a physical famine. Every famine is coming during a sports season. So what must you do in the off season? You have to do the best you can to make sure you get an abundance of mental, psychological, spiritual, emotional, physiological help so that you can endure the test that is coming. Because to Marcellus's point, and this is where I'm going to end my first lap.
Oh, let's keep going.
We're in the middle of a global pandemic. We're in the middle of racial upheaval and racial tension. We're in the middle of presidential change. We're in the middle of climate change. If you pay attention to any and all of those things, you will need a pause every single moment of every single day. So you have to try to figure out as best you can while still protecting yourself how to navigate all these things and keep pushing forward because they're compensating you to do so.
Oh. Yeah, imagine if you're at home right now, because I was, as much as people have seen me accomplish things, even in my accomplishment failures within it, you know, my career wasn't top notch. People come at you, and imagine if you're someone at home who doesn't have the occupation that I've had and I have, which is talking sports for a living or playing sports for a living, which is pretty high in terms of things that people would love to do and aspire to do. I know how this lands to other people. Kyrie Irving, who loses $850,000 in this last week or so, and it's nothing to Kyrie Irving, and some people are like, oh my God, and then what did you lose it for, Kyrie Irving, is what I think a lot of people would take issue with. Because Kyrie Irving says he had family issues, personal issues, and then he made a comment about how the weight of the world is on his shoulders.
Issues, all that.
Fighting for unity and equality. And I'm going to be the guy, you know me, I'm an eternal optimist, but I'm also a realist. And to consolidate being an eternal optimist and a realist, you come to places sometimes where you feel like you're by yourself. I have a thought process that there's no such thing as equality. I read a book a long time ago called Self-Talk that helped me understand my conversations, not with a black man or uncomfortable conversations with white people or anything, but the conversation I have with my best friend every day, myself. And it talks to you about listening to that dialogue and not ignoring it, but paying attention to the world. Most people pay attention more to the words they hear on the outside than they do on the inside. I don't. I really don't. Now, that book led me to other books that made me understand one thing, that equality doesn't exist, bro. No two siblings are the same. My sister's my best friend. Boy, she can do some things I can't, and vice versa. No two siblings are the same, so no two family members are the same. No two family communities are the same. No two communities are the same. No two areas are the same. No two you get where I'm coming from. You don't believe me? Kyrie Irving, you play basketball better than most. Ain't no equality in basketball. You play it way better and way different than 99.9% of the people. So to fight for that, when you know that the opportunities for equality is all you want to try and do, but that's going to be a lifelong mission. It's not going to be just solved in 1 week. Guess what? This world is as beautiful and as messed up as it was when you took your pause and after your pause. But this whole equality conversation that he's trying to fight for, it sounds so amazing on paper until it has to land in reality, because no two things are the same, and we're imperfect beings trying to make something the same. Yeah. It won't work. Whatever, we can have that conversation another place. But where he took me in this conversation was a little different. He said he needed to take a step back and realize what's important. I challenge people to take a step forward and know what's important. If you do that, you see the difference. If you do what I just said, you don't need to take a pause. You already know what your commitment is, and you stay true to that commitment and keep all things flowing and all things going while you're still on your mission. So this pause, a lot of people say mental health, and mental health is a problem. I go to a therapist, I get it. But my therapist also jokes around. He's like, not everything that happens to you is a mental health issue. It's not everything, it's not an issue. Yeah, it's called dealing with life. Life brings issues you got to learn to deal with. If this is the way he wants to deal with it, I don't really want to condemn him for his ways, but I will look at him differently for tapping out on something else he needs to deal with while he's trying to deal with something else.
That's why everything you said is why I said, like, I don't have an issue with it because I can't.
Because I'm not Kyrie.
Exactly. I can't tell the person, hey, you know what? I have an issue with you protecting your mental health. I can't, but I can understand the problem with it. And the problem with it for me comes down to this. To whom much is given, much is required. In every aspect of life. Marcellus, you know this. Before I came on this show to host this show, I was a reoccurring guest on other shows. So if Emmanuel Acho's going through situations, tough life crisis as a reoccurring guest, you know what I can do?
And don't look at them independently. Think that they're all a part of this script, a part of this play that's going on inside their head. And all of a sudden, you start to address that in totality instead of individually by every single element. I tell everybody all the time, happiness is not just a choice.